What's up, viewers, subscribers, and agents alike? It's your boy Enlightened Luciferian Prince coming at y'all once again. You know what I'm saying? During my birthday week. My birthday is Friday. Don't forget. And as you can see, with everything that's going on right now, with the whole, 2020 incident, with the way that things have just been moving this year, all I'm going to say is this: stay focused. Stay focused and don't really pay it too much attention. The reason I also tell people during consultations about the distractions that are taking place is because what it's doing is that there is an agenda to destabilize people's mentality and to keep them focused on the problem rather than the solution. See, on my channel, if you want the solution's here. If you don't, keep on worrying about those protests, keep on worrying about Candace Owens, keep on worrying about all of those people who are just there to keep your mind diverted on issues of no real importance. Trust me, people talk about police brutality. Listen, a country founded on murder will never, ever be straight. Remember that. This does not constitute legal advice. The sole purpose of this information is for informational and educational purposes only. And agents, y'all know what it is. Anywho, here it is. The Bankruptcy, Economics, and Us is going to be the title of this video. And I want to read something, and I'm going to also elaborate on in my own perspective from what is also to be, simply explained to people also who are either new to these concepts, new to this process, or just new to the channel, period. So it is what it is. Let's proceed. The sole purpose for the process constructed within the system of bankruptcy is to ensure the safety and the well-being of the natural man or woman over corporate profit. However, there are individuals who conduct their day-to-day affairs behind a pen and a keyboard who believe the opposite should be the order of things. The unfortunate reality is the deception perpetrated by these same people as they lodge themselves into positions within our government's infrastructure, resulting in the vast majority of the population convincing themselves that the source of their woes are coming from the government itself. What needs to be pointed out regarding the concept of the bankruptcy, life, and the mode of economics is that they have been grossly transfigured beyond the point of recognition. In the opinion of the masses, the bankruptcy is really only a governmental problem, and its effects will never significantly touch them individually. In the opinion of the masses, life is merely about the accumulation and pursuit of things. In the opinion of the masses, economics and the study of this obligation of CPAs, businesses, corporations, government, etc. But as an individual, it is a responsibility best left up to those who are more qualified than themselves. Not so much else could be further from the truth. This indoctrination is at its best. It's the type of indoctrination that is relentless, unfeeling, emotionally detached from the concerns of the subjects, purely goal-oriented, rigid in its concepts, excessive in its promotion of anything in the cause and pursuit of carnal desires, and thought-diverting pastimes. An individual with a distracted mind is an individual who can be effortlessly steered into any trap. This plan of indoctrination has been implemented from the time of infancy through cartoons, music, movies, commercials, etc. Once the desired concepts have taken root in the hearts and minds of the population, the people begin to articulate themselves in line with the preconstructed status quo established from a form of speech. The people then begin to reordinate these words, concepts, and newfound beliefs upon one another when having their cliche-filled conversations. And should someone in such a discourse express an observation outside the normal range of discussion, it will be instantly considered profound. Or, on the opposite end of the spectrum, the individual may be labeled a know-it-all. This is often implemented so as to unwittingly, in most cases, discredit any real efforts towards aspiring for knowledge in a meaningful way. Hence, we call the people to waking up. Significant terms to remember. Subrogation. When the surety fulfills all obligations, he or she then shares the same rights as a creditor. If a creditor received collateral from the debtor, the surety is then equally entitled to collateral from the debtor's estate. The surety has a right to reimbursement for completing the obligation. Payment is now required from the debtor's estate. And now you see why I said that you don't put yourself down as a debtor on your UCC1 form. Those who are financially literate know exactly what I'm talking about. Those who aren't, keep filling out the paperwork wrong. It's your choice. Surety. The one who assures payment or performance to its completion on behalf of a debtor. Guarantor. Essentially becomes surety should the debtor refuse to pay. Guarantor has no obligation until the debtor refuses to make payment. Bond. An insurance policy which guarantees compensation in the events of the bonded party does not perform or misperforms their obligations. Estate. A debtor's assets that are used to pay a creditor. Order for relief. Protects the debtor from having to pay the creditor until the debtor's bankruptcy is complete. Reorganization. When a debtor is allowed to keep all assets as opposed to liquidating his or her estate, then agrees to pay the creditors at a later date from projected earnings, which is what I just said earlier in previous videos. This is what's going on right now with the reorganization of expenses during this so-called election year, and everyone is going to be considered who votes surety. Discharge. Debtor is released from obligations of debt and is afforded a new start. Now we get to the root of what discharge really is, people, according to legal definition, and not conjecture, not what I want to believe, make you believe, but what the legal definition really is. Trustee is the agent whose responsibility is to reside over a bankrupt estate and organizes the affair of said estate for the court. The trustee also estimates the value of assets and or the estate's liability. Now, one more definition: contract. Statement, promises, and writings of agreement that are enforceable in law and or through the courts. Now, let's break this down. What did I just say in simple layman's terms, people? In simple layman's terms, people have been following my channel for a long time. Know for a fact that I always express discharge and acceptance for value. Now, what most people don't understand also is that when they file the UCC1 form and they file these documentations, what they never do is they never present them in open court pertaining to their commercial situations. What does this do? This confuses the person who contacted the other person who they may have gotten instructions from about filling out the form, but they never presented it in open court to change their situation. They never presented it to third-party entities. They never presented it to any other thing. They just keep these documentations themselves. Yes, you have to start to take this private remedy and start to put it in the public. Not just to do the process and to keep it to yourself. You need to assess every single debt or obligation that you have in your existence, such as credit cards, such as mortgage payments, and start to give it to these motherfucking people. Period. That's the only way it's going to work. Discharge only works when the private takes the private remedy and puts it in the public venue to remedy the situation between the private and the public side. Because remember, everything that happens to you is happening to you from a public side. You see what I'm saying? So what most people don't understand is that most things are always contractual, if not more than 98% of things you do. I would say 99.9%. I don't care if you go to a strip club or you go to a hospital. Guess what? You got to get some type of permission for something. Period. Contract, statement, promises, and writings of agreement that are enforceable in law and through the courts. So now you get exactly what I'm saying. You have to take these documentations and put these documentations in the public venue. You people with child support issues, you have to understand also you have to put this in the public venue. You can't offset the debt without having superior security interest over what a debt really is. And this is the reason why I tell people all the time, that's why they fail or they are unsuccessful with what this remedy really is. Then you got people who go into this so-called sovereign citizen movement. There is no such thing, because you have to understand you're either a sovereign or you're a citizen. You cannot be both. You will not be both. It is impossible. And if you want to believe in that ideology and that fallacy, that's perfectly fine. You know, keep listening to Gene Keating. But the reality of what I'm saying is that it's the reason why people fail is because The processes in which I give people, I know for a fact they work because I use them myself. And I know that it's an atomic bomb, you know what I'm saying, in regards to the system, because they don't want these processes to ever be known, that they only operate off of the atmosphere of fear, intimidation, and fraud. If I can keep you ignorant to how things work, guess what? You'll never figure it out for yourself. And I can stay rich and I can stay going to the bank. But people who contact me already know off the muscle. You know, like I said before, they know. You know, one consultation is all it takes normally with anybody. It's over with. I don't lead you along with a carrot on a stick. I don't have time for that. Self-empowerment, self-improvement, that's what it's about. If you want the information, contact me by email. And please, people, if you do contact me by email, would you please leave a phone number? Because I know that most people don't check their email often. Me, myself, I do. I literally live in front of my computer, so I check it often. You know, I do my screening. I check and see exactly what the situation is, and I help the person to the best of their ability is what it is. But if you don't, then I really don't even know. Like, it's questionable, you know what I'm saying, at best. And secondly, it's one of them situations also, like, I know I said it in previous videos. So I'm saying it again in the more current video. Please, just keep it that simple. Serious inquiries only. So people who are dealing with fledgling businesses, if you have a business, but you will also like to reassess how your business will proceed within the next few years accordingly to how you want it to be prosperous, please contact me via email. Stay tuned, people. Uploads coming all day. Peace. Love y'all. And agents, you already know what it is. Get off my channel. I'll fuck with you. Peace.